Your Honor, with all due respect, you don't have the authority to tell me what to do. That's what he said to me, in my courtroom, in Providence Municipal Court, where I've served for over 2 decades as Judge Frank Caprio. The man standing before me wasn't just any defendant. He was 52 years old, wearing a custom-tailored Navy suit that probably cost more than most people make in a month. His silver hair was perfectly styled. A gold Rolex caught the light every time he moved his wrist, and his face. It wore the kind of smile that said he'd never been told no in his entire life. His name was Chief Marcus Thornwell. And yes, you heard that right. Chief of Police. Not from Providence, but from the wealthy suburb of West Haven, just 15 miles north. I looked at him across my courtroom and felt something I don't feel often. My jaw tightened. The air in the room changed. If you believe justice should be equal for everyone, you'll want to see what happens next. Let me take you back to how we got here. Case 2026 TR 48392, my bailiff announced. The City of Providence versus Marcus Thornwell. I shuffled the papers in front of me and looked up. Good morning. Please step forward. Chief Thornwell walked to the podium like he owned the place. His shoes clicked against the floor with confidence. Too much confidence. Before I could continue, I noticed someone else in the courtroom, a young woman sitting in the front row of the gallery. She was 23 years old, wearing blue hospital scrubs that were faded from too many washes. Her name was Elena Ruiz, and I could see her hands were shaking. Your Honor, the prosecutor began, this case involves a hit-and-run accident that occurred on February 3rd at the intersection of Broad Street and Westminster. The victim, Elena Ruiz, was struck while crossing in a marked crosswalk. She suffered a fractured wrist, severe bruising, and missed 3 weeks of work as a nursing assistant at Providence General Hospital. I looked at Elena. Her left wrist was in a brace. She lived paycheck to paycheck. 3 weeks without work? That could mean not paying rent, not buying food, not keeping the lights on. Then I looked at Chief Thornwell. He was checking his watch. Mr. Thornwell, I said, keeping my voice steady, do you understand the charges against you? He barely looked up. I understand you're wasting my time, Your Honor. This is a mistake, a case of mistaken identity. The way he said it, so casual, so dismissive, like Elena didn't matter. This is not a waste of time, sir, I replied. A young woman was injured. She's here today because of what happened. I need you to take this seriously. He sighed, actually sighed. Fine, let's get this over with. A few people in the gallery shifted in their seats. I could feel the tension building. Your Honor, the prosecutor continued, we have 3 pieces of evidence to present. Go ahead, I said, keeping my eyes on Thornwell. Evidence number 1. A traffic camera captured the incident. The video shows a black Mercedes SUV, license plate WHV2041, failing to stop at the intersection. The vehicle struck Ms. Ruiz and then drove away without stopping. That license plate is registered to the defendant. I looked at the screen as the video played. There it was, clear as day. The black Mercedes. Elena stepping into the crosswalk. The SUV speeding through and hitting her. She went down hard, and the vehicle just kept going. Mr. Thornwell, I said slowly, that's your vehicle. He shrugged. I let a lot of people borrow my car. Could have been anyone. Do you have any proof someone else was driving? I don't need proof, he said, leaning forward with that smile again. I'm telling you it wasn't me. Isn't my word enough? I felt my hands grip the edge of the bench. In a court of law, sir, we rely on evidence, not just someone's word, especially when video evidence contradicts what you're saying. Well, maybe your video evidence isn't as clear as you think, he shot back. A woman in the gallery gasped softly. Let's continue, I said, my voice harder now. Prosecutor, what else do you have? Evidence number 2, phone records. At 4:47 p.m., 7 minutes after the accident, Mr. Thornwell received a call from Officer Derek Finch of the West Haven Police Department. The call lasted 2 minutes. Immediately after, Mr. Thornwell sent 3 text messages to Officer Finch. The messages read, "Can you make this go away?" followed by, "I'll handle it on my end," and finally, "No one needs to know." The courtroom went completely silent. I looked at Thornwell. His smile was gone now, but not because he was ashamed. He looked annoyed, like we'd found something we weren't supposed to find. "Mr. Thornwell," I said carefully, "did you ask a fellow officer to cover up a hit-and-run accident?" "That's taken out of context," he said quickly. "I was talking about something else, something unrelated." "Unrelated?" I repeated. 7 minutes after you hit someone with your car, you texted a police officer asking him to make something go away, and you're saying that's unrelated? I'm saying you're jumping to conclusions." His voice was rising now, getting defensive. Good. That meant we were getting somewhere. "Evidence number 3, Your Honor," the prosecutor said. "A witness, Mr. Thomas Waverly, who owns a coffee shop on that corner. He was standing outside when the accident happened. He not only saw the accident, but he got a clear look at the driver. He's here today to testify." An older man stood up from the back of the courtroom. He walked forward and was sworn in. "Mr. Waverly," I said gently, "can you tell me what you saw on February 3rd? "Yes, Your Honor. I was taking out the trash around 4:40 in the afternoon. I heard tires screeching and looked up. I saw a black Mercedes blow through the red light and hit a young lady in the crosswalk. She went flying. It was horrible. The SUV didn't even slow down. It just kept going." "And did you see the driver?" "Yes, sir. Clear as day. It was him." He pointed directly at Thornwell. "I've seen him on the news before. Interviews about crime rates and public safety. I recognized him immediately." Thornwell's face turned red. "That's ridiculous. This man is lying." "I'm not lying," Mr. Waverly said firmly. "I know what I saw." "You're mistaken," Thornwell snapped. "You're an old man who probably can't see past his own nose." "Mr. Thornwell," I raised my voice, "you will not speak to a witness that way in my courtroom. Do you understand me?" He turned to face me, and that's when I saw it. The mask slipping, the arrogance turning into something uglier. "With all due respect, Your Honor," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm, "I don't think you understand who you're dealing with. I've been in law enforcement for 28 years. I run an entire police department. I have connections in this state that go all the way to the governor's office. I know judges. I know prosecutors. I know people who can make problems disappear." The room was frozen. "Are you threatening me, Mr. Thornwell?" I asked quietly. "I'm not threatening anyone," he said, raising his hands in mock innocence. "I'm just saying, maybe we can handle this a different way, a way that doesn't waste everyone's time. I'm willing to pay the girl's medical bills, write her a check right now, and we all move on." I looked at Elena. Tears were running down her face. "This isn't about money, Mr. Thornwell," I said. "This is about responsibility, about accountability, about doing the right thing." He laughed. Actually laughed. A short, sharp bark of a laugh that echoed off the walls. "The right thing?" he repeated. "Your Honor, let me tell you about the right thing. I've put criminals behind bars. I've kept communities safe. I've dedicated my life to justice. And now you're going to lecture me about doing the right thing because of some minor traffic accident." "Minor?" I said, my voice rising despite myself. "You hit a woman with your car. You drove away. You tried to cover it up, and now you're standing in my courtroom acting like you're above the law." "I am above this," he shouted. "I enforce the law every single day. I don't answer to some municipal court judge over a fender bender." "Bailiff," I said sharply, "if the defendant raises his voice one more time, remove him from this courtroom." Thornwell straightened his jacket, took a breath, and then he smiled again. That same ugly, arrogant smile. And then he said it. "You know what, Judge Caprio? You're right. I hit her. I drove away. And honestly, I don't care. She's fine. She's sitting right there. A broken wrist? That heals. But you want to ruin my career over this? You want to drag me through the mud? Go ahead. Try. Because by tomorrow morning, I'll have 5 attorneys and a press conference, and this whole thing will disappear. You think you have power in this courtroom? You don't. Not over me. Not over someone like me. So why don't you just bang your little gavel, give me a slap on the wrist, and let's all go home? 10 seconds of silence. I've been a judge for a long time. I've heard a lot of things, but I have never, in all my years, heard someone confess to a crime and then mock the court in the same breath. The gallery erupted. Whispers turned into shouts. Someone yelled, "Are you serious?" Elena was sobbing now. The bailiff stepped forward, ready to restore order, but I didn't need him to. I stood up. Slowly. My face must have said everything because the room went dead silent. I looked at Marcus Thornwell, really looked at him, and I saw exactly what he was. A man who believed his badge made him untouchable. A man who thought power meant he didn't have to follow the same rules as everyone else. "Mr. Thornwell," I said, my voice like iron, "sit down." He hesitated. For the first time I saw a flicker of fear in his eyes. I said, "Sit down." He sat. "Marcus Thornwell," I began, and I made sure to say his name clearly. "You just confessed to a hit-and-run accident in open court. You admitted that you struck Elena Ruiz with your vehicle. You admitted that you fled the scene. You admitted that you don't care. And then you had the audacity to tell me, a sitting judge, that I have no power over you." I paused. "Let that sink in." "Let me tell you something, Marcus. I've been on this bench for over 20 years. I've seen people from every walk of life come through that door. Rich, poor, powerful, powerless. And you know what I've learned? The law doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your title. It doesn't care about your connections. The law is the law. And in this courtroom, I am the one who upholds it." His jaw was clenched now. His hands were gripping the edge of the table. "You said Elena's wrist will heal," I continued. "You're right. Bones heal. But do you know what doesn't heal easily, Marcus? The fear she felt when your car hit her. The panic when you drove away and she realized you weren't coming back. The shame she felt when she couldn't pay her rent because she missed work. The nights she stayed awake wondering if anyone would ever hold you accountable." I pointed at Elena. "Look at her, Marcus. Look at her." He didn't want to, but he did. And for just a moment, I saw his expression crack. "That young woman works every day to help people," I said. "She's a nursing assistant. She takes care of the sick and the elderly. She doesn't make much money. She doesn't have power or connections. But she shows up every single day and does her job with dignity. And you ran her over and drove away like she was nothing." My voice was shaking now, not with anger, with something deeper. Disappointment. Sadness. "You talk about justice, Marcus. You say you've dedicated your life to it. But justice isn't just about putting other people in jail. It's about holding yourself to the same standard. It's about admitting when you're wrong. It's about facing the consequences of your actions, and you have failed at every single one of those things." I took a deep breath. "You ask me if I have power over you. Let me answer that question. Marcus Thornwell," I said, my voice clear and strong, "I find you guilty of leaving the scene of an accident involving injury. I also find you guilty of obstruction of justice for attempting to cover up this crime. And based on your behavior in this courtroom today, I am holding you in contempt of court." He opened his mouth to speak, but I held up my hand. "I'm not finished." The courtroom was so quiet you could hear people breathing. "Here is your sentence. First, you will pay a fine of $15,000. $10,000 will go to the city of Providence. $5,000 will go directly to Elena Ruiz to cover her medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering." His face went pale. "Second, your driver's license is suspended for 1 full year. You will not drive. Not in Providence, not in West Haven, not anywhere in the state of Rhode Island. If you're caught driving, you will face additional criminal charges." "Your Honor, I need my license for work." "You should have thought about that before you hit someone and drove away," I said coldly. "Third, you will complete 300 hours of community service. Not at a police station, not at some charity gala where you shake hands and take photos. You will complete those hours at Providence General Hospital, where Elena works. You will assist the janitorial staff. You will mop floors. You will clean bathrooms. You will empty trash. And you will do it every Saturday and Sunday for the next 6 months, from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Your supervisor will report directly to this court. If you miss a single day, you will go to jail. His lawyer started to stand up, but I kept going. Fourth, you will write a handwritten apology letter to Elena Ruiz, not typed, handwritten, at least one full page. You will explain what you did, why it was wrong, and what you've learned. You will submit it to this court for approval before it's delivered to her. If I don't believe it's sincere, you'll write it again. Fifth, you will record a public service announcement about the dangers of hit-and-run accidents. It will be aired on local television and posted on the city's website. You will also speak at 3 high schools in Providence about accountability and the importance of doing the right thing, even when it's hard. The dates and locations will be determined by this court. I leaned forward. And sixth, Marcus, because you showed such blatant disrespect for this court and for the legal process, you will spend the next 5 days in the Providence County Jail for contempt. Bailiff, take him into custody. What? Thornwell jumped to his feet. You can't do this. You can't just... I already did, I said. Bailiff. 2 officers moved forward. Thornwell backed away, his hands up, his face a mask of panic. Wait, Your Honor, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... You had multiple chances to apologize, Marcus. Multiple chances to show remorse. You chose arrogance instead. Now you'll have 5 days to think about your choices. The bailiff put handcuffs on him. The sound of the metal clicking shut echoed through the courtroom. Your Honor, please. Thornwell's voice was breaking now. I have a family. I have responsibilities. You can't do this to me. You did this to yourself, I said quietly. As they led him away, he looked back at me one more time, and I saw it. The realization, the understanding that his badge, his title, his connections, none of it mattered here. The courtroom doors closed behind him. 6 months later, I was reviewing case files in my chambers when my clerk knocked on the door. Judge Caprio, someone's here to see you. I looked up. Who? Marcus Thornwell. I hesitated, then nodded. Send him in. He walked into my office. He looked different, older, tired. His suit wasn't as crisp. His hair wasn't perfectly styled. He was holding a folder. Your Honor, he said quietly, I wanted to thank you. I raised an eyebrow. Thank me? For not letting me get away with it. He opened the folder and pulled out a stack of photos. These are from my community service hours at the hospital. I met people there, real people, people who work harder than I ever have, people who have less than I do but give more than I ever did. He set the photos on my desk. I met Elena again, he continued. A few weeks into my service, she was working her shift. I apologized, really apologized, not because you ordered me to, but because I finally understood what I'd done to her. She didn't have to forgive me, but she did. I looked at the photos. Thornwell mopping floors, Thornwell emptying trash, Thornwell talking to patients. I finished all 300 hours last week, he said. I spoke at the high schools. I recorded the PSA. I did everything you ordered. And, Your Honor, I kept going. I've been volunteering at the hospital every Saturday on my own because it changed me. I studied his face, looking for the lie, the performance, but I didn't see it. I'm not asking you to change my sentence or give me back my license early, he said. I just wanted you to know that what you did that day, it saved me. It reminded me why I became a cop in the first place, not to be above the law, but to serve it. He extended his hand. I shook it. Thank you, Marcus, I said, for doing the work. He nodded and left. I sat alone in my chambers for a long time after that. The photos were still on my desk. I picked one up. Marcus Thornwell, in a hospital uniform, smiling next to an elderly patient. People ask me all the time why I do this job, Why I spend my days in a courtroom listening to traffic violations and parking disputes. They think it's small, insignificant, but it's not, because every case that comes through my courtroom is a chance to remind someone of something important, that actions have consequences, that no one is above the law, that justice isn't about punishment, it's about accountability. It's about looking someone in the eye and saying, "You can do better, you must do better." Marcus Thornwell walked into my courtroom, believing his badge made him untouchable. He left in handcuffs, humbled and broken. But he came back 6 months later as a better man. That's justice. Not revenge, not cruelty, justice. And if I can deliver that, even once, then every single day on this bench is worth it.